Good morning, YouTubers. So today's job is changing my rear pads. So from when I rebuilt my caliper, which were binding a little bit, I noticed my pads were getting a little bit low. These are pads that I like to use. Those have been quite good, lasted a long time. These are some tools you'll need to change your pads. So you might have noticed I've attached a bit of locking wire here to this little clip. It's not standard, it's just something I do. I don't know what happened once, but I was off-roading and that little clip got flicked out. It holds this pin in for the rear pads. It didn't come out, but so I thought I'd make an extra safety measure and add a bit of a lock wire there. There we go. Next we're just going to drive that in there to knock the pin out. The punch size I use for knocking the pin out is pretty much nearly 4mm. So this is the pin what goes through. This is that little attachment I told you about. It just slides on there. And then the clip. You just see it. The clip then goes through the hole there to secure the pin in place. Next I'm going to slacken these two bolts off here, lift the whole caliper off. You'll need a T45 to undo them bolts. This is a little bracket what holds that like hugger on the back. You can see I use Loctite, low strength Loctite on these bolts. Sometimes you've got to give it a little squash. Oh, that's one pad out. Next pad out. So these are pads. These are old pads. They're not illegal, but I don't like to get them too low. So next job is to slide this carrier out and then clean out pistons before I push them back in. That just simply slides off. So now I'll clean round there. This little plate pops out. Clean out back of there, look for any corrosion. And just clean my sliders up. So it's quite important to clean around your pistons before you push them back in. So I almost get like a toothbrush, some brake cleaner. These are quite good because I've recently stripped this caliper down because it was binding. I removed the pistons and cleaned behind the seals. I do have another video you can watch if you want to see that, if you're interested in seeing that. Also, when you push your pistons back in the caliper, keep an eye on your brake fluid level, as it will rise. You don't want it to like leak out and go all over your frame. If your pistons are nice and free, you should be able to push them back in like that. Nice and easy. Same with the other one. There we go, both back in. And all I do with this carrier is just to remove a bit of corrosion. Just get wire brush. It's not too bad, mine. Same with little stainless steel plate. Give that a bit of a clean behind. So it's nice and clean now. There we go. And I'd just like to say thank you for all supporting YouTubers. The great comments. It'd be fun to find out where you're all watching from, so if you get chance in comments, drop a message saying where you are and where you're watching from. Well, that's ready for going back in, that. So I'll just show you where old pad. See them little notches on there, they sit in there like that. So it's going to be hard to show you putting these pads in whilst caliper's there. Slide to there like that. Here's a old versus new. You can see there's quite a bit of meat on the new ones. These pads always seem to fit bang on. Good quality. So I might be able to show you how pad goes in. So it slides in there like that. It goes into there. Give you a little pin, clean up before it goes back in. Get all rust and corrosion off. It's a little bit tricky this, but hold it like that, get the other one in. Slide pin in at the same time, like that. So that's both the pads in. So to slide it over at disc. There we go, we're over. Now I'll just finish knocking my pin fully back and then I can put my clip in. There we go, clips in, nice and secure. Next is wire brush the old Loctite off. The carrier bolts are all cleaned up now, ready for some Loctite. But what I do is just put your bolt against there and make sure it's long enough. So I've seen it before where people put aftermarket bolts in and they're not long enough and the caliper falls off. So what I do with this bolt is to get this carrier lined up properly. I put that through there like that. Just start it off. And this bolt, sometimes it's a bit awkward to line up. So I'll put that in there like that. That way when I tighten these bolts up and torque them up, this little bracket's in the right place, so this bolt slides in perfectly. So, fresh Loctite on bolts. I use low strength. Some people use copper slip, but I don't like to use that. Next job, torque it up. So I've just looked in Haynes manual, and I believe it's 24 Newton meters your carrier bolts, but aren't being made liable for that, so you need to look that one up yourself, put torque settings. But that's what I'm going to do mine at 24. There we go, nice and tight. Now I'll clean that torque mark off and put a fresh one on. So don't forget to pump your rear brake up and then check your brake fluid level. Also check your disc thickness. It is marked on your disc. Minimum is, I believe on these discs, is 4.5mm minimum. It just tells you on there. And here I've got some calipers to measure thickness. My old granddad Birrick's calipers. Get these out. Measure that. Measured a few places. There we go. So it's alright. It feels quite good as well. It's not much wear, not much of a lip. And you can see there's quite a bit of meat left on it. So next is to put the hugger back on. So this, you can see now what I did earlier. That's all lined up now, so I know when I put that back in there, the threads start easy, not risking stripping anything. I don't know why I really put this back on, to be honest, but I do. I like to keep it standard as possible. So you see, everything's lined up alright now. Best thing about these Bindaview bikes, everything lines up perfect every time. So that's the little hugger back on. Put some torque marks on there. Caliper's not seized, a little bit of movement. No binding. All I need to do now is just pull a bit of brake fluid out of there because it's just above the max mark. Just pops out of there like that. Undo my cap. And gently rest it there. And all I'll do is just got a little syringe, just suck a little bit out. Just a tiny bit, that's all it needs. there, like that. It's just there now. So there's a bit of an update on my engine. Slowly getting the old paint off. What I found is using a bit of paint stripper to soften it up, and then using like wire wheels and abrasives, scraping it all off with a little minion toothbrush. Bit by bit it's all coming off. Slowly, slowly. And then I'll put engine back together, put bottom end, and I'll get it vapor blasted to get these darker corroded bits off. But thank you very much for the support. It's going a long way, it's keeping me going. It's not easy fitting it around family life and things like that. But yeah, put a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much. So that's the new pads fitted. They're the old ones. It's all in. Hopefully get some riding done soon. Weather's getting better. Nice shiny pads. Whoa.